So this is week 4 policy points. Today is October 31st, Halloween 2023. And I'll just go through some of the things I've noticed and thought about and seen while staying homeless in Framingham mainly. And, put together with a Boston experience as well. Number one thing I've thought of is instead of, I've noticed a lot of the services they provide people with food, they provide people with material needs like clothing and such, hygiene products, they provide people with shelter. I think it would be good if there were stronger behavioral health type of supports built into that, encouraging people to improve on their situation, encouraging self-efficacy. Like one thing I noticed that Vicky does when I was at the Pearl Street Cafe is there were people that were there that would eat and had been using that resource, but they also volunteered there. So giving more opportunity to people that utilize different social services to actively be involved and participate and volunteer, giving them a role, I think that would be a good idea. Number 2, I think there should be more events, more activities, more workshops, more things for people that are homeless or indigent, struggle with addiction issues and mental illness that are utilizing these resources. I think there should be more stuff for them to do, events, activities, different classes or workshops. One thing I've noticed doing a lot of charity stuff is whenever I go to these events, it's like people that are vested socially, they have money, they support the charity with like addiction-based stuff. It's people in long-term recovery or people that work within the sphere of health and recovery. But I don't see a lot of events and activities that are really focused on the populations that these charities want to serve. And I think that that's important, getting people that they're serving more involved in the process of supporting them. I've noticed a lot of the churches will have like workshops or they have events. The church over St. Paul's off Tremont Street near the Commons did a talent show for the homeless people. I thought that was great. I wasn't able to make it, but everybody had a good time. I love stuff like that. I think that's smart, it's clever, and you're making people feel like they're included. So yeah, more events, activities through charities to involve the people that they're directly trying to support instead of just bringing in wealthier people and drumming up money and things like that. Number 3, thinking more about connecting with the populations that it is our job to serve, connecting with them on a personal level. And I guess that's kind of an expansion of policy point number 2. Spending time with people, it's hit and run. You come in, you give people food, you give people resources, and then, you leave. Well, I think the most important part about building up a person is connection and consistency. So stronger supports around making people feel welcome and connected to the community at large and the people that are there to help them. And dogs are over here fighting, dog sitting. I noticed the churches put a lot of effort into this, and they're just understaffed. When I go to these church meals and workshops and things, you have like maybe upwards of 4 church workers, some volunteers, and then 100 people. So bringing in, I'm a firm believer in state-funded resources working with faith-based funded resources and coming together and combining their powers. I don't see a lot of that. I don't think I'm gonna say I haven't seen a lot, but I don't think I've seen any of it, which is sad. And, society, it runs a certain way. We're all expected to work and have homes and have all these things. So people that struggle with mental illness, people that struggle with poverty, people that struggle with addiction, they're a problem. And the idea that sectors of society just don't want to look at that and push them aside, I think is foolish. While I was out there in the street, I saw, what could happen when we don't have effective mental health supports. What happened in Maine? Look, that man went in, was hearing voices telling him to kill people, and they let him out 2 weeks later. There needs to be deeper work done with people that are affected in our society by poverty, mental illness, and addiction. You can't just turn a blind eye to it. This is a terrible thing that happened. 18 people were killed, and I think 4 or 5 more were severely wounded and injured. Because, and I'm not afraid to say it, because what seems like a mental health facility did not do proper work. They did not do a proper investigation into an individual that was extremely mentally ill and extremely dangerous. And then they released them back out into society. So they hold their responsibility in that. And I think that the services need to be stronger around building people up and finding out exactly what's going on with them and what their needs are. And if they're dangerous, keeping them away from the rest of the population. That could be done through questioning and interview. So there's that. Number 4, one thing I've noticed about some of the homeless people I've met in the street, one in particular, is they tend to exaggerate or embellish their situation or their past. And I find that it's unhelpful. If somebody has needs and somebody is struggling, and I get it, we all want to have a certain level of self-worth, self-appreciation, self-esteem. And I think sometimes a lot gets lost in ineffective communication. So I think that is also an issue. And I feel like people feel stigmatized. They feel shame due to their situation. And because of that, they try to make it seem a little bit better than it really is. So not bringing in services, events, workshops, activities, I think there should be more work done, not only, like I mentioned before, and other policy points, helping people understand the technology with the cell phones and everything. Everything's run by cell phones. But help people with effective communication. More workshops around effective communication. People asking for the things that they want or need so that they can live a healthy lifestyle. Like one thing is housing right now, is they want to house everybody, but a lot of these people have communities in their area. So if you house them away from that community, they'll isolate. If they have substance use issues or mental illness, then those issues will increase in that type of setting. It'll exacerbate. So really asking people, I came up with a few questions of my own. Let me jump over here that I thought would be good to help people, help people like social service workers and people to help these people really understand what a person's needs are and what's going on in their lives. And like really digging into that, like not on a surface level, but getting to know the person and getting to understand. So when you do find things like shelter for somebody, that the shelter is something that will last over time. It won't be something that's going to cause more harm than good. The questions are, number one, do you want to continue living in the street? I've noticed a lot of people prefer to stay out in the street instead of shelters. They're uncomfortable there for whatever reason, substance use, whatever it may be. So asking somebody, like, is this, have you had housing before? How many times have you been housed? How long did it last? Would you prefer to live in the street? What is your comfort level of living? So do you want to continue to live on the street? And asking that question. And then asking the question, if you want housing, what do you need to live successfully in housing? Like, where do you need to be? Where's your community? Where are your friends? Do you need case managers? Do you need mental health supports? What do you need? Not somebody telling somebody, this is what you need, and making that decision, but asking the person, what do you need? And getting to understand that a little bit better. And then the last question would be, what resources are you currently using? Asking people what resources have been helpful for them. What has been useful? What are you using now? What have you used in the past? Just to get a better understanding of what the person's situation is. So I got that. So yeah, better effective communication is huge. And I think a lot just gets lost on both sides due to a lack of good communication. And I was gonna create a critical thinking course once. And now I'm starting to see that the child of critical thinking, effective communication, is more important. And just trying to facilitate that amongst the helpers and those who are being helped would make a huge difference. And these are just simple things. So that's what I got for policy points. Thank you for watching.